There we go. How's it going, everybody? Wester, good to see you in chat. I'm going to do some coding tonight. We've got a couple of little mini giveaways we're going to do for some very uncommon 3D printer nozzles that I found while I was cleaning up my shop. So going through and like cleaning and sorting and stuff, I've found a couple of nozzles that I don't need. So I thought I'd give them away. We did hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so pretty jazzed about that. So we're going to give away the tentacle treasure chest on Sunday's stream. It was too short notice when I realized today that we hit 1,000. Too short notice to like give that away tonight. So we're going to give that away on Sunday. But I'm going out of town for the rest of the week. So we'll give that away on Sunday. I'll tweet about it kind of as we go. I'll maybe drop some teasers about what's going to be inside the treasure chest because it's not going to be empty. But for tonight, we got a couple of nozzles that I want to give away. So we have a volcano style nozzle. It's a 0.6 nozzle for 1.75 millimeter filament. And I realize my chat's not turned on here. There we go. And the other one is it's a volcano nozzle for 1.75 millimeter filament. And this is a 0.6 nozzle. I'm pretty sure it's a 0.6. It's not labeled. It's either a 0.5 or a 0.6. This one's definitely a 0.5. This is a micro Swiss nozzle, but this is for 2.85 millimeter filament. So if you've got like a TAS or like an older style printer that has the larger size filament, the 2.85 or the 3 millimeter filament, then this nozzle will be for you. So go ahead and do exclamation point giveaway, get in that giveaway. We'll be giving this away kind of over the next 2 hours or so. I'm only intending to stream for a couple of hours because I still got to pack for my trip tomorrow. Gigantic weather storm and weather system moving in. So I got to get packed and whatever. I got to leave like early tomorrow morning. My flight's not till like lunchtime, but I want to make sure I got plenty of time to get to the airport and stuff like that. Flight's probably going to get delayed anyway, but better safe than sorry. So. Westery, how's it going? Hey, Bets, good to see you in chat as well. I haven't seen Bets around in a little bit. See Bets on lots of other channels, so welcome back. Good to see you here. Westery, I started printing a really large size dragon on the Voron, and then I had a problem with the nozzle, so it failed. But when I get back from my trip, I'm going to like try and 3D print another one of those articulated dragons, but like supersized. So imagine if you had a 350 by 350 bed, and expanded that dragon. It went to something like 160% or something like that, 170% or something like that. It's pretty massive. So I'll get that printed up and sent to you. I found a really cool translucent dark green PLA filament. So I'll get that printed up and sent that over to you. Denver's airport is a little crazy. It's all the way out in Kansas. That's part of the problem, but it's like far away out of the city. But yeah, it's generally pretty busy. I'm thinking with the storm and stuff, a lot of flights are hopefully not canceled, hopefully just delayed, but we'll see how it goes. So doing good. Cheat day with Mardi Gras food. Oh, nice. Is it Mardi Gras already? I guess it is. Well, I mean, it's Tuesday, so we get the Mardi part, but is it Mardi Gras today? Bet says, sorry, I've been busy. No worries at all. It's good to have you back though. So yeah, so part of getting the whole workshop back up and running is getting into actually having licenses to sell 3D prints and stuff like that. So, so if anybody's looking for stuff to get 3D printed, I will be your individual. I have a license for a number of different 3D creators and stuff like that to be able to sell their prints. So yeah, it'll be fun. So anything from like Flexi Factory, Clock Spring, stuff like that. I've got licenses for all their stuff. So, and hopefully once the Voron is up and running and finished calibrating, I'm having problems with layer shifting on it right now. At least printing really tall things, and I'm ending up with layer shifts. So I need to figure that out when I get back from my trip. Then I'm going to get into helmets and cosplay armor and stuff like that. So it should be fun. And then getting into airbrushing. I got everything set up here now. I mean, aside from like packing for tonight, I got a bunch of stuff here, a bunch of stuff on the bench here in front of me, but basically I have to finish getting packed for tonight. So yeah, so I'm going to stream for about 2 hours. I'm going to work on the chatbot a little bit. One of the things that I like to do when I'm doing my career stuff on Sunday, my career streams, is being able to hit a button on my stream deck that says like start like isolating what I'm about to do as a separate video clip. because when I'm in OBS, I have it recording to my drive all the time. And so what I have built out in the past was a way for my streaming system to kind of keep track of when I want to start and stop a clip. And this is my own style of clip, not the typical like clip that you see on Twitch that can only, it's typically like 20, 30 seconds long. These clips are like 5 to 10 minutes long. So if you go to my YouTube channel and you check out any of my playlists on YouTube, you'll see a lot of those videos are like 5 to 10, maybe 15 minutes long. And so I want to hit buttons on my stream deck that says start a clip, end a clip, and then it'll like go process in the background so that as soon as my stream is over, I've got the full length stream that I can upload to YouTube. But then I've also got these smaller videos that I can go back and review and fill in the descriptions and stuff like that, and that those are already processed and ready to go. That I don't have to be like, wait, when did I do that question and answer? What was this thing about or that thing about? That it's just going to take care of those clips for me. So that's the plan. And so I've got some of that code written, but then I moved my chatbot over to another server or like a machine. I mean, it's effectively acting as a server here in my basement. But it doesn't have live access to the video file that I build on this computer. So I've got a couple of different things that I need to do around how do I tell my chatbot to write an entry into a database, and then how do I get something else to read that out of the database to know, oh, go find that file, go start at this offset of the file, clip out so many minutes worth of video, and then save that as a separate video. So I'm gonna have to go through and rewrite some of that. So we're gonna start on that tonight. But we'll see how far we get. So if you have a 3D printer, again, I've got 2 3D printing nozzles to give away tonight. And then Sunday's stream, I'm gonna give away that tentacle treasure chest from Clock Spring that you see on my YouTube channel or on my Twitter feed. So if you go check me out on Twitter, I just posted another picture of it. It's 8 colors. I did it on the bamboo. Took like 4 days to print, and it looks fantastic. It looks really, really cool. And it will not be empty when it ships to the recipient. But I'm not saying what's going to be inside, but it will not be empty. And I might drop some hints and see if people guess, but I'm not gonna say just yet what's going to be inside. But we'll give that away on Sunday. Tonight we've got a couple of nozzles just because kind of like a part 1 of 2 kind of thing. So the Micro Swiss nozzle, this is like, I forget how much it was. It's a plated wear resistant nozzle. So it's a nickel plated, I think it's nickel plated, but it's a wear resistant nozzle. So it'll be like a hardened steel kind of thing, but it's plated, which means hopefully the filament won't stick to it. Because sometimes your filament, when you're extruding, it'll stick around the nozzle. But again, this is for a 3mm filament, not 1.75. So most printers out there right now are doing 1.75. This is for a different style of printer. And this one's a volcano style, so it's much larger, much longer than a typical nozzle. But otherwise, it's the M8 or M10 pitch. I think it's the M10 pitch. So it'll screw into like where an E3D nozzle would screw into. It's the same kind of threading, but it's much longer than a typical E3D nozzle would be. So this will not work on a typical 3D printer. You need to have a volcano capable hot end for that. But we're going to give these away anyway tonight. And if you get the nozzle and you don't want it, you can turn around and give it to someone else. So we'll pay it forward, as it were. Otherwise, I'm just going to kick back and do a little bit of coding tonight. So if you want to watch me code, you're welcome to ask questions. I'll kind of explain what I'm doing as I'm going. Otherwise, you can do exclamation point giveaway, and I'll do the first giveaway in about an hour, and the second one maybe a half hour after that. I don't want to stream more than 2 hours tonight because, again, I got to finish packing, and I got to get up early to get to the airport and stuff. So, I need to get up early to make sure that like Uber or Lyft can drive me to the airport, so I don't have to bug my wife to do it. Bet says if I win, you can redraw. I mean, if you win a nozzle, then you can go get a 3D printer. That's how that works. So if you win the nozzle, you go get the printer, right? It's the same thing. If you go to these other streams and you win filament, but you don't have a printer, now you can go buy the printer. Then you can print your own stuff. Just kidding. But yeah, otherwise I'm just I'm gonna pop into some coding. So you're welcome to hang out if you like. Like I said, I'll do that first drawing in about an hour or so. But I want to get going on some of this coding. So Sunday is always going to be career time. Tuesday is going to be more coding. Thursday is going to be more like 3D printing, finishing, painting, stuff like that. Last Thursday, we unboxed a laser engraver, had some fun with that. I had a sample here on my desk, and I have misplaced it. I tried etching a picture of my wife and my puppy when he was small enough to pick up like this, but the etching didn't really work out very well. And then I tried a few last night, and while I enjoy the smell of burning wood, what I found is running the laser engraver too long, it makes the entire house smell like something's on fire. And so I definitely need to set up some ventilation around that. So I'll be probably building like a little DIY fumigator kind of thing to pull the fumes and like put it through some active charcoal and or active carbon and filters and stuff like that to lower the smell. So good times, good times. All right, so let's dive over into some code. So this is my chatbot code. This is it's all written in Python. So all of the different commands that you can do exclamation help, and you'll see all the different commands. Like if you do exclamation joke, it'll basically go call my API for a dad joke, and you can kind of see the stuff running down here. Where I can also see what's happening in chat. So Bets is asking what website to use to get 3D printed templates again. So I typically use printables right now, printables.com. I'll drop that chat for that. So printables.com, or there's thingiverse.com. There's also My Mini Factory and Thangs. I think those are both .com. But yeah, a lot of things on printables and Thingiverse are going to be free, but they may not be like commercially allowed. So some people that do the design work, they'll put them up on those sites for free, but they'll say like, you're not allowed to make money off of these models. Sites like My Mini Factory and Things, when you buy the model, you may or may not have permission, but you can also go find like Flexi Factory. So anything by Flexi Factory, they have a Patreon thing that you can go kind of browse and see what they do. You can also find a lot of their models online. I've got a license to do Flexi Factory, and I think who's the other one? There's another one that I do. Let me switch over to this. Where is my? Is this the one? Nope, wrong browser. Which browser is this that I'm looking at? I don't have that browser in front of me. All right, well, let's go fix that. So this browser is going to be yeah, we'll look at this one. So this is somebody that I'm trying to follow online and learn about their laser engraving kind of setup. Patreon. So a lot of these folks, like Wexter, Flexi Factory, 3D Printing World is the other one. Just by backing them on Patreon, you're allowed, like at certain levels, you're allowed to sell their stuff. And so you can go find any of their stuff from 3D Printing World, for example. I think I'm pretty certain that I back their stuff. Yeah, because they make the lightsabers and stuff. So I have permission to 3D print their lightsabers and things like that. So anything that they have designed, I can 3D print and sell. But like collapsing chicken or kitchen knife, you know, stuff like that is kind of interesting. You can kind of very faintly see the line right here where it would look like you're actually stabbing somebody. But then lots and lots of lightsabers. They were really big into the collapsible lightsabers. And I 3D printed a lot of these back in December, and we sold them at a show that the kids were doing at their school. So yeah, so find anything from 3D Printing World, Flexi Factory, and Clockspring. I believe I backed them at the right level to sell their things, but I'll double check on that one. And then Wexter. I'm pretty sure do I have? No, I don't think I did Wexter's commercial license. But he makes all these like cute little figurines and stuff like that. But that's typically where I'm getting my models from. Folks like MacGyver and so on, they don't typically allow commercial licensing on their stuff. So like the MacGyver Dragon, he gave me specific written permission last year to give those away, but I don't have permission to sell his designs, which I totally respect. So I'm not going to go around anybody and stuff like that. So I don't want to have any kind of bad will with folks that make such amazing designs. I don't want to get them all mad at me for doing this. Anyway, so yeah, so here's all the chat output and so on, and then so it's already trying to write some stuff for me here. So why was it trying to do a clip already? So something in here is already trying to do a clip because it's throwing a Python error about something. I'll have to double check, see what happened in there. I think it's trying to write the chat history or something into a file so that if I start a clip, it knows like how to grab a certain amount of chat and add that as a separate file so that I can kind of go back and review, this is what the clip was about, or this is the question that was asked in chat, things like that. So these are the things that I'm going to work on for a little bit and try to fix. And then, like I said, we'll do that first giveaway in about an hour. But feel free to drop hello in chat or just lurk in the background. That's fine too. All right, so let's see, where do I need to get started? So in here, it's telling me the problem is in, so this is actually the TwitchIO. Oh, here we go. Prodbot line 300. All right, so around line 300, what am I doing in here? So this is where I'm processing all the incoming messages. And at line 300, yeah, this is basically, so if a message comes in and it's just a regular chat message, then I'm storing like the last 100 things that were said in chat, and then I'm trying to write that into a file. But it looks like it's trying to look at a mount point. No such file. So it looks like it's trying to append to a file that doesn't yet exist. So using the letter A here means I'm trying to append to a file, and that file doesn't exist. So excuse me one moment. Oh, you done with that? Okay. Cool. Youngest is doing his science fair project. What can we find in 10 billion digits of pi? We wrote a little interactive script for him to run during the demonstration at the school. So are you doing your presentation tomorrow or Thursday? Presentation in class are tomorrow and Thursday. Okay, do you know which one you're doing? Because I should change the password on that one so that you can take it to school if you want to do that as part of your demo. If they'll allow you. It doesn't need to be on the internet. Why don't we do this? We'll change the password. You can ask your teacher tomorrow about doing the presentation on Thursday. And if they'll let you bring that in as part of the demo, then you can take it to school on Thursday, bring it right home, but don't play with it at school. All right? Okay. If they want you to present tomorrow, though, what do we do? Well, I would say take it to school anyway. So we'll set a password. So write down what you want me to make the password, and then I'll change the password for you, and then take it to school tomorrow, just in case you're presenting tomorrow. But make sure you take the charger with you so it's all charged up, or plug it in so it's charged and stuff like that. And then if you're presenting tomorrow, then ask your teacher, like, hey, like I have an interactive thing. Can I try running that? And if he says no, then that's okay, or she. So yeah. He. Okay. Alrighty. Well, let's dive in here. So I'm trying to append to a file that doesn't exist. So this is a path here. Hey, Smaller Voice, thanks for the follow. Always curious how folks happen on the stream. So welcome. Thanks for coming in. Why is it only showing part of my chat here? Let's fix that. Oops, that's not the right one. Still not the right one. Says it is big enough, but there's something blocking my chat window. What is blocking my chat window? That part's not there. Oh, that's both one. Okay. There you go. Yeah, Smaller Voice. Thanks for dropping by. Let me know how you found the stream. always curious how folks find my little stream. I'm doing some Python coding tonight. Sundays I help people with interview preparation and career advice around the tech industry, and Thursday is kind of my day to do like maker stuff. So I got like a whole bunch of 3D printers. I do painting. I do like post-processing of prints and stuff like that, like aging details to make things look like they've been around as long as I have. But thanks for dropping by. I'm trying to fix something about my chatbot going on. I want to find a person coding Python while I code Python. Sweet. Awesome. Well, if you got questions, if I can help add opinions or anything like that, feel free to drop those in chat. I'm using a Python library called TwitchIO, and it's pretty robust. It's a lot of asynchronous type of coding, and I'm just trying to remember like how to sort of mount these things. So part of the problem is my chatbot is trying to store all of like the last 100 messages in a file, but I moved all this code to another machine. So this disk path doesn't exist anymore. So just leave it here. I'll change it later. Thanks. And so I've got to go in and I've got to update these paths and stuff like that. So let's see. So in here, so this is the actual machine. If I look at my mounts, I don't really have a shared mount point. Where do I have the most disk space though? Just in my home folder, I think it'd be fine. So let's see. So if I go to source me chatbot, this is where I store everything. So maybe I'll just do like chat log or something in here. And I'll just make that my path. We're just writing new paths for the module to follow. So this particular library will allow you to build out your commands in a very modular kind of way that you can like reload the plugins and stuff like that. So you can design them as plugins. I just have everything as like one really big chunk of Python code that then branches off into my own Python modules that we see like over here on the left. So things like my giveaway bot and things like that are all just kind of in here. Ultimately, what I want to do is when I do my career advice stuff is I want to make my own little clip maker. And part of that is where stuff gets stored on disk. And because I moved all the code from my Windows machine where I do streaming onto a Linux machine, all the disk paths are different. I was running a lot of the chatbot stuff on a Windows subsystem for Linux. And so it was, effectively a Linux environment, but all the disk paths are different now that I moved it onto this other machine. And I didn't want to have to deal with like mounting disks across my network, because if I shut a machine off, then that disk path isn't there and that can cause problems. And so I want to keep everything local to the machine where I've got the chatbot actually running. And so this is going to be the new path that I'm going to use. So instead of this mount D OBS videos, etc., I'm just going to do a different path. So what I want to do in here is actually find like all the places that I'm using a path like this. Because I'm sure I'm using it in here. Really, is that the only place it found that? That can't be right. Oh no, it's in here a bunch. So like where I upload my, so when I do a little clip like that, I have other processing that like strips out just the audio and then it uploads it to an audio only podcast that I publish through Podbean and things like that. So I got to go through, I got to change a bunch of this paths and stuff like that kind of as we go here. So this is just part of the work that I'm going to be doing here. So this path is going to go, oh, not that path. I want this, oops. Home ID, source me chatbot. And we're going to dump this into chat log. And then inside of that folder, I'm basically tracking a new file, or I'm going to track a new file where we have the date of the stream. And then when I start a clip, then it's going to like take the time out of there and basically, so when I start and stop a clip, it's going to store the last 100 messages in there. So right now, every chat message that comes in, there's like a running buffer of the last 100 things in chat that's being stored in Redis. And if I start a clip, it's basically going to take that last 100 things and like dump it into a meta file. with the idea that when I go back and look at that clip, I can look at the timestamp of it, and that timestamp is going to match the file name, and I know which of these meta files lines up with which video file. Now, the video file is a whole other thing because the video is stored on my local Windows machine. This chatbot is now running on a different machine, and so in order to actually extract that part of the video, I still need something running on my Windows machine that can like go look at the database and figure out, okay, a clip starts here, ends here, go figure out how much time that is, send the command over to FFmpeg to extract that as a separate video. The idea being that when I end my stream and say I'm all done, that all of the video processing has already been kind of chewing away on things in the background. So the whole sort of session of when I live stream, that whole video gets uploaded to YouTube, but then I'll have all these little smaller videos that I can then upload to YouTube into my playlist. So if you want to go check out my YouTube channel, I got lots of stuff on there. And then, yeah, that's kind of where I'm starting this sort of rework a little bit. So now everything that gets added should end up in there, because otherwise I was trying to append to a file that doesn't exist. So the other thing that I could probably do with this is try to figure out, like do like a try except around this, that if it throws an exception that I could catch that and try to recover from it, because right now it just completely fails. But it was happening when I was writing just some URLs in here. So if I do youtube.com, for example, this is the exception that it's throwing, because that file doesn't exist. So I have to actually restart my chatbot now that I've changed this path, but then hopefully that'll start to work again. So if I issue a reboot command over here, it basically like terminates everything I'm doing, goes and fetches new credentials to log in. It does that every hour or two. In this case, WebSocket didn't connect, and so unable to be joined. So then it just retries again, and they're connected. So we see in the chat up here, the chatbot's powered up and ready to go. Not sure why the WebSocket doesn't always connect. I think there's some sort of connection thing with Twitch, like if you try to reconnect too frequently or something like that. So now if I do youtube.com, so now we don't get that error anymore. And if we come over here and we look at the path that I made, that was chat log. So there's the chat that I just dropped in here. So if we say something else in chat, so that didn't show up in the chat log though. Why is that? That should have shown up in here. Oh, there it is. Oh, okay. So it's just VS Code not updating in real time. So, yep. So now chat is capturing. So now if I start a clip, basically I've got this meta file that's basically just a running chat log of what happens in chat kind of as I go. All right, so that's that part. So that part got fixed. And then, so if I start a clip, so that's basically looking for a command that tells me to go start a clip. So if it's me writing the content, it splits it all out. It's looking for the first thing. So as long as I don't start with a bang command. Wait, why is it coming in here and starting a clip right away? It shouldn't be starting a clip every time. It should only be starting a clip if I tell it I'm actually doing a clip. So this block of code is where it's handling all of the incoming messages, and this is where you can do some branch logic on, is this a chat? Is it a whisper? Is it, some sort of event to handle who actually wrote the thing? So for example, if you send a whisper over my ID736 bot, this is basically, it's keeping track of who the last couple of whispers were from. So if somebody tries to anonymously ask a question, but you're just trying to like get around the spam filters, then it's keeping track of the last 25 whispers that it received. And so I can do a shame command and it'll tell me who the whisper was from. Hey, Westery, thanks for dropping by. Yeah, have a great day tomorrow. Otherwise, if the length is more than 400, Message is too long. I don't think I actually do anything with that message though. Oh, that's if they send a whisper. Then the whisper's too long. Otherwise, if it's from stream elements, then I'm keeping, if it's not stream elements, then I'm keeping track of the channel because I want to respond back to that channel. And so I do a who is lookup on who wrote the message so I can figure out, are they a subscriber? Are they a VIP? Are they a first-time chatter? You know, things like that. How long have, you know, are they a follower? How long have they followed me? So I've got like all these analytics that I do. Is this where the cool kids hang? Well, now that RC is here, yes. Good to see RC. And then we're just logging all that stuff. So we're logging the content. So if we have a message ID, which means it wasn't a whisper, because whispers don't come into Twitch with a whisper ID, and certain events don't come in with an actual message ID, in which case I try to figure out who the person is, and then I log that into this file. And then message content. So if it's not me or my bot or stream elements or stream stickers, then I want to keep track of that last 100 messages. And that's where it's trying to append all that stuff into that chat log. And so it's keeping track of the last 100 inside of Redis. And then if it is me, then I'm looking at the first word. So it's basically looking for a command from me. I'm trying to remember why I had this code immediately starting a clip though. Because that's why I was trying to write that log file. But that should be happening down in a different part of the code. So sorry for the intrusion. You should be sorry. Never be sorry, RC. Always happy to have you around. Append to the text file everything that I put in chat. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what this was. So everything that I write in chat. So this was more for me because when I share links and stuff like that, I want to be able to put that in the YouTube description afterward. And I sometimes forget to go back through Twitch, or Twitch only allows me to scroll back a certain amount of chat buffer. And so anything that I type in chat, I want to make sure it gets logged somewhere. So if I'm sharing links that I say like, oh, all these links are going to be in the YouTube description later on for anybody watching this later, I need to make sure that I actually get those links in the YouTube description. So sometimes I forget. A lot of times I forget. So that's what that was about. Okay. Otherwise, it just goes through and it handles the command. So, and then that's where it's going to go in and look for, you know, exclamation point hello, it's going to run this code, exclamation point joke, and it's going to run that code, and so on. Anyway, so this is where you can control my Govy lights. That's a channel point redemption. Nanoleaf is the same thing. Actually, I need to turn the Nanoleaf thing back on. So I had it turned off for a little while. Do Nanoleaf true. Let me go restart that. So now if you follow, you'll see the lights blink behind me. But you can also now change the Nanoleaf with some channel point redemptions if you like. Let's see, we got a little bit of pub sub, and that's like, remind me to hydrate and stuff like that. I think if you do exclamation point hello, I think Obi-Wan Kenobi shows up. All right, where is my code window? There it is. So looking for bits and stuff like that. So some of this I'm actually handing off to StreamerBot now instead of doing it manually. Yep, there it goes. It works. But it also gives you like a random message from the chatbot as well. My favorite one is like, I've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. So I've got a whole bunch of those static responses. Those are all sitting up here in a thing called static content. And there's a whole thing in there about static responses for things like the hello command and so on. All right, so we already got through event message, hello, joke, Nanoleaf, lurk command. All right, so one of these is where I'm actually, so the giveaway. So I'm doing a giveaway tonight for a couple of 3D nozzles. If you're into 3D printing, I have a volcano style nozzle, which is for 1.75 millimeter filament. This, I believe, is either a 0.5 or a 0.6. It's not marked, and I didn't keep track of what it was. So it's either a 0.5 or 0.6 nozzle, but it is for 1.75 millimeter filament, but only if you have a volcano-capable nozzle. The other one is a micro Swiss plated wear-resistant nozzle, but this is for 3 millimeter filament, not 1.75 millimeter filament, and this is a 0.5 millimeter nozzle, and I know that because it's on the label. I actually bought this by mistake. I was trying to buy something for, I think, the school that I worked at, and I ended up buying the wrong nozzle. This one wouldn't fit, and I didn't feel like going through a return process, so I've hung on to it, and I found it while I was going through and cleaning up the workshop. So my dinner was delivered to my neighbors. That sucks. I'm sorry. The code I use at work is so simple that when they sent me a whole bunch of pub sub messages, I responded so quick I tripped the circuit breaker. That's a new one. My laser printer trips the circuit breaker down here all the time. It's kind of annoying. So anyway, you can do exclamation point giveaway if you want to get on the giveaway. I'm going to do the first giveaway in about 40 minutes for one of the nozzles, and then I'll do another one about a half hour after that. So you can do bang entries, and you'll see if I'm doing like a month-long giveaway thing, which we'll be doing in April, then you'll see how many entries you have kind of ongoing. Otherwise, this is the giveaway code, and it's just set to whatever day I'm streaming. So this is not where we want to be. Discord stuff. So if you do ask an anonymous question, it posts in Discord, and we'll do a threaded discussion over there. So even if I'm not streaming live, you'll see my chatbot sending these little reminders from time to time in chat, even while I'm offline. And you can always send a whisper to the bot, ask it a question. It'll show up in the chat anonymously. Of course, I won't be here to see it, and so it's also going to post anonymously in our Discord community. So you can go check out Discord if you like. And it'll post the anonymous question over there. So I wanted to make it as easy as possible for people to ask questions anonymously. I got a shout out. This is kind of my rotating shout outs. This is my shame command. So if somebody tries to send a whisper, and hey Whip, good to see you. And it's something spammy, that I can do bang shame, and it'll tell me who the last whisper was from. Reboot basically just kills everything and just throws an exit command and just shuts everything down. This is where we're starting the clip. So it only works if you're me. So it's grabbing the time right now because I want to log that in Airtable. So most of the database stuff that I do is just Airtable. Yeah, good try, Whip. I think I've actually got a comment in here like only Ian can run the commands below or something like that. So I want to try to fetch all the streams, and if it's 0, then I'm not streaming, so I might as well just stop. There's no point starting or stopping a clip if I'm not actually streaming. Otherwise, get the current stream, and again, just doing an extra double check of am I actually streaming. And then I'm tracking when it started and grabbing the epoch time, because some of the stuff I do is tracked in UTC, GMT time, and not my local time, but I do convert the stream date to be my date, because everything that Twitch does is in UTC time, but I want to track everything on my own time zone. And then I'm basically taking out the clip command because I can do a clip start and a clip end. And I've got like other things that I want to do in here. So as long as it starts with clip, then I want to like split on the space, go grab the next word in case it's like a clip start. So I can do an offset, I can do a start, and I can do an end. So the offset is basically when I start streaming, it takes a little while for Twitch to say, okay, you're actually streaming now. And so right before I hit the button that says go live, which will go from my like starting soon screen to like the screen that you see here, I look at this offset value. So right before I go live, I do a clip offset, and that tracks, okay, from the beginning of the recording of the video until now, like how long did it take? Like how long did I wait for that intro music and whatever before I actually went live? Because everything else I do is going to be relative to the start of the stream, not when I actually went live. And so if I wait 5 minutes, then every other clip that I make, I need to offset by 5 minutes. So every other time of the start and end, I have to offset by that amount of time. That part works. Clip.start, this is where we're going to be writing stuff into Airtable. And so I'm going to need to kind of bounce back and forth with my browser to actually go make sure in Airtable that it's actually writing in the clips here. So I'll be testing this kind of live in production kind of as we go. A lot of these clips are broken. So a lot of the stuff I've been doing since like mid-October, where I thought I was doing clips, have actually been completely trashed. And so I need to clear out a bunch of stuff out of Airtable, and then we'll make sure that as I'm doing like the clip commands and stuff, that things are actually going to show up. So different delivery person. My person just arrived. Sweet. Well, enjoy your food, RC. Did you bring enough for everybody? All right, so let's go take a look at the clip code. So that is in a separate Python module. Let's go take a look at what's happening in here. So here's my clip object. And then, so the root path, I got to change this again. This is where it's finding like all of my intros and outros and things like that. Because originally I was going to have FFmpeg to like put all the intros and outros on the video clip for me. I'm not sure that I really need that now, but I think I'll probably do it anyway. I do share this path on my network. Do I want to? Well, again, I don't really want to get into network sharing over my local home network. So I'll probably just end up copying all these files over to the other machine. So let me start that. So I've got my chatbot. Let me go into the clips folder. And I'm just going to make an assets folder inside of that. And then I can copy things over from here. So I've got to mount DBS videos. All right, so now I can just rsync these things over. All right, so I want to copy over my YouTube intro and outro and my podcast intro and outro, as well as my 2 seconds of silence, my 3 seconds of silence, the font that I use. What else have I got in here? Oh yeah, my background. So I want to copy all of these things over to that other machine. So let me get the IP address in there, and that's going to go to my source, me, chatbot, clips, assets. See if that worked. Yep, so there's the assets path. There's all those files I need. Should be good to go. Hey, Raider Fun, good to see you. I program? Yeah, how about that? I actually code. I've been in the tech industry for going on 27 years now. I've been coding since I was 8. My dad brought home a Commodore 64 in 1982, which is ridiculous to think that August this year I'll have been coding for 41 years. Sounds really strange to even say that. But yeah, thanks for dropping by. So we've got all our assets here. I got to make sure that I put that in a git ignore though, because I don't want those ending up in the Git repo where I put this stuff. So let me go over to here and let's, so I want to echo clips assets into my git ignore. So I want to make sure that that ended up the way that it was meant to be. I heard a chime. What was that chime about? Somebody just did a thing. Thank you for the bits, Raider Fun. Appreciate that. 12-bit cheer to 41 years of coding. Yeah, it feels... In some ways it feels longer. In some ways it feels not so long. But yeah, either way, it's been a minute that I've been doing this. Lately, though, I've been putting more of my time into Python. That's kind of my primary language. I'm also picking up some C# on the side. So all the stuff that I help my youngest kid, he's doing a science fair project on what can we find in 10 billion digits of pi. just to speed things up, to be kind of cross-platform and work really efficiently and really, really quickly for things like live demos of things like that. I basically got into some C# and some multi-threaded programming so that we can search through 10 billion digits of pi within a couple of seconds. And it works really, really fast. So it's pretty neat. I don't know, just for kicks, I might add that to the chatbot at some point. I'll do like a bang pi and you put in a number and it'll tell you whether it can find it in pi or something like that. Because it's kind of fun and nerdy to do that kind of thing. All right, so it added that into my git ignore. Just want to make sure that it is not going to add that in there. All right, cool. Yeah, we're good so far. All right, so that is in there. So now I need to change this root path in the code. So this root path is now going to be not here. This is now going to be this is going to be home ID source me chatbot clips. I'll have to make these paths. So to do upload to YouTube and upload to podcast, or should just rename that to Podbean. Let me go make these real quick. It's a new folder. This will be podcast. And this is basically just where it's going to store those temporary files that it's going to make. Nerdiest channel on Twitch. Oh, I don't know about that. I've seen some get like super nerdy. But yeah, do exclamation point giveaway. I'm giving away a couple of 3D printer nozzles, and if you are the recipient and you can't use it, feel free to like give it away to somebody who can. So I've got a volcano style nozzle. This is for 1.75 millimeter filament. It's either a 0.5 or a 0.6. I didn't label it when it came in, and there's no like little dots on the side of it indicating. There's no like marking anywhere on there. It's definitely bigger than a 0.4. It's no bigger than a 0.6. I've visually compared it to a 0.8. It's not a 0.8, but it's bigger than a 0.4. Unfortunately, I don't have any clean 0.5 or 0.6 nozzles to compare it against. And so I know it's a 0.5 or a 0.6. It's not a 0.4 because 0.4 is smaller. This one is actually, I have a clean 0.5 millimeter nozzle right here. See how good my eyesight is. See if I can compare these two things side by side. So the other one is a Micro Swiss plated wear resistant nozzle, but this is for 3 millimeter filament, not 1.75 millimeter filament. So if you have like an older like Lulzbot Taz or something like that that takes 3 millimeter filament, then this one will be more up your alley. I'm going to say the 0.5 bore is slightly smaller. So I'm going to call the Volcano and a 0.6 nozzle. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a 0.6 Volcano. And the Micro Swiss is a 0.5 definitely because that one's on the label. But the Micro Swiss is for a 3 millimeter filament. The other one's for 1.75. So I'll be doing the first drawing for that in about a half hour or so. And then the second one I'll do like a half hour after that. I'm not going to be streaming a super long time tonight because I got to travel for a tech conference in Detroit tomorrow morning first thing. And we got a giant snow storm rolling through the Denver region. So I got to get up extra early and get to the airport and stuff. So I'm only going to stream another hour and a half, depending. We'll see how far we get with this. All right, so I got those paths. I got my assets in here. I got all these files copied over, so should be good to go there. This is the reference for where I'm storing the clips in Airtable, so that should be okay. And so my constructor is basically going through and making sure that I've got all this stuff. Let me clear out that double slash here. I travel for my work, yeah. I do developer relations work for a company called Postman. So if you're familiar with Postman for testing out APIs and stuff like that, I work at postman.com. I'm a developer advocate over there. What's the most difficult project I've had? Oh gosh. Difficult in what way? Because difficult can mean a lot of things. Difficult as in technically challenging, or difficult as in like the people that I worked with, or challenging as in who I had to build the thing for, because I could answer all three of those. So narrow down the question for me and I will regale you with stories. Coordinating with people. Um, I worked on a project. It wasn't very technically difficult, but um, we were basically tasked with, hey, we need to store like a lot of stuff in a database, and we have to search this database really, really quickly for lots of very disparate data. Um, and so we were asked, I was a web architect on the team at the time. I was a pretty early employee at the startup. We had grown to a couple hundred employees, and so I had a fair bit of clout at the company, or so I thought. And they said, "What technology should we use?" And I gave them my suggestion. And they're like, "Okay, start building your thing." And we explored things like DynamoDB and Elasticsearch and MySQL and like different flavors of MySQL and so on. But unbeknownst to us, they had also approached a different team within the company saying, "Hey, Ian's team is building out this project. What database should they use?" And we were also looking at things like Cassandra and things like that from like a NoSQL perspective. Well, they came back and they made a recommendation of a database called RIAC, RIAK, and and I don't know what happened with this other team, but somehow they overrode all of the decisions that me and my team were making as far as the database that we wanted to use. And they're like, "Nope, you're going to use RIAC." And I'm like, where did that decision come from? Like none of us know React. How are we all going to learn React? Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, "Nope, like, this is the decision. We're going to go with this database." And I got looking at it and I'm like, this database is not suitable for what we need to do. It's brand new. It's new in the market. And they're like, no, they promise it'll do everything we need. And I'm like, this is not, no, this is not going to work. And we did some exploration on it, and sure enough, like, we barely put any data in it and the thing would topple over. And so they were like doing all these clustering things and whatever. They ended up flying people from the company. It was the company's name at the time was called Basho. And so Basho actually flew employees out to where we were to work with us on what we were trying to build. And they were basically live coding their project with us based on the constraints that we were hitting, and letting them know, like, hey, we're trying to do this doesn't work, this part needs to be faster, this part is, this part's fast enough, but this part is not performing well. And they were going in and they were constantly changing like memory values and caching values and networking and all kinds of stuff on their side to try to accommodate us because we were throwing boatloads of money at them. In the end, it ended up not working. And I'm not a typical "I told you so" kind of guy, but we ended up going back to MySQL and Elasticsearch, which I had started building out in the first place. And I'm like, this is performant enough for what we need to do. This is all we need. And they're like, no, we got to support like hundreds and hundreds of millions of rows and be able to search and catalog and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, we're not there. Like, we don't need to over engineer this thing. And someone else ended up making the call that no, we're absolutely going with this database. And it ultimately fell over, and they finally conceded that, okay, this is not a suitable database after all. But meanwhile, we had spent like a ton of money on it. So we ended up launching with MySQL and Elasticsearch, and guess what? It worked great for years. It worked just fine. And I actually found a React book while I'm like cleaning up my shop around here and like reorganizing furniture. I actually found the React book that I had. So I posted a picture of it to a couple of old coworkers, and I'm like, how to trigger PTSD in the web dev team, whatever. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, can't believe you still had that thing." But yeah, that was probably the worst one from a coordination point of view, where just different teams weren't communicating well about what the expectations were and why this database technology got chosen. And it wasn't like we weren't asked our opinion before the decision was made. We were just told, this is the database you're going to use. So the most technically difficult one that I had to build was a startup back in 2008, 2009 kind of era. It was an ad tech platform. And basically, when I started at the company, again, early stage startup, I love some startups. I was really early on, and I was writing code in Perl at the time, and they wanted something that could parse log data. And at the time, Perl was an amazing technology for that. That was exactly what Perl was made for, to take really large files and parse them and like do different things with it. And so we were processing about 25 million ads a day through our system. And they're like, this thing's going to grow like, our business is going to go gangbusters. It's got to handle way more. And I'm like, all right. So I started over engineering things as you do, and working with the DBA that we had. His name was Bill, and Bill had some good ideas. I had some good ideas. I ended up writing a multi-threaded Perl application that basically was connecting to a network share where all of these log files were ending up. And what I built out was a thing where they could literally drop in hardware, like to sort of horizontally scale this system, where every new piece of hardware that they drop in, they put a little bit of configuration to point it at this network share. All of the different nodes that would, that were part of this cluster would basically figure out, okay, I'm going to take care of these log files, you take care of those log files. And so every system knew which log files to go fetch. And if something failed, it would try to retry, and it would try to figure out the log lines that couldn't get processed, and it would put them in another separate area for a human being to go look at and go, oh, this person's ad, inserted some invalid characters or whatever, and it messed up our parser, kind of thing. And then, we could make a determination of discarding that data. The trick with this was it had to be close to what we call real time as a system. It had to be near real time, because as we were showing these ads, like our software basically had to make a decision of, okay, Ian hit this web page. What ad do we show? That has to happen in like a fraction of milliseconds, like almost down into like nanoseconds kind of timing. And when they show that ad, basically we log that we showed this ad on this web page to this user, and even all the way back in like 2008, 2009, we were tracking data about users. And it had to be done in near real time, because that log data had to end up back in the database. So the next time somebody went to a web page and the whole system was saying, what ad do we show? We had to know how many times have we already shown that other ad? Which websites have we shown that other ad on? How many times has it been shown total? We had to have all this analytic data in order to drive the decision of should we keep showing this ad or not? Because when a publisher would come to us and say, I want to, or not the publisher, the ad producer, they would come to us and say, we want to show this ad for, this soda to a maximum of 50,000 users, plus or minus a percent. Like there was always some wiggle room. It wasn't like a hard cutoff kind of thing, but there was always like, it couldn't be like they say 50,000 and we show it like 500,000. Like it couldn't be a factor of 10 or anything. They were usually within 1 or 2%. And so we had to know within near real time when that ad got shown. It ended up in this log file. I had to process it all the way through my system, get into the database so that the other systems could make decisions on that. Well, like I said, when I started, we were processing about 25 million ads a day. When I left, we were doing about 1 billion ads a day. And that was almost 2 years later. But we grew from 25 million to about 500 million within a matter of months. And I was the only person working on this part of the software. And it was a pretty critical part. If it broke, nothing else down the chain could make decisions on which ads to show. So it was terrifying. I was basically working 90 hours a week for 3-4 months straight. And then I would take a weekend off. Ooh, I get a whole weekend. During this job, our first kid was born. I missed most of his first year of life because I was working so much all the time. Ended up with anxiety attacks. But looking back, it's like some of the best engineering work I've done as far as getting this near real time to where they could literally drop in additional hardware, do a little bit of configuration, and it would just work. And so by the time they shut it down, let me go look up the stats on this, because I sometimes get this wrong. Let me go get the, so I left, this was the other thing. So this system stayed in place after I resigned. So I left November of 2009. And literally all they had to do was drop in additional hardware. Very little re-engineering, very little restructuring of the code. They shut it down in February of 2017. So they shut down the software 7 years later, almost 7.5 years it ran without having to touch the code. Like it just worked. They just dropped in hardware, or they would take hardware out and they would replace it with stronger hardware. And when they retired it, I'm just looking up the thing right here. Near as we can tell, it ran from January 2009 until the previous week of when they wrote this email. So it would have been about mid-February of 2017. It processed 17 trillion ads, accounting for about $3 billion in ad spend over 8 years. And literally all they had to do was drop in hardware, and it just continued to work even long after I left. So yeah, that felt pretty good. Like being able to build something that big and that scalable. So it was horizontally scalable. They could literally take a system out, drop it in. And again, with just configuration of like how many CPU cores are on here, how much RAM is on here, and it would calculate, okay, I've got this many cores. I can spin up this many threads based on the number of cores, based on how much RAM I can read in this much of the log data at a time, process it, get it into MySQL. And it was near real time. Like from when that ad showed to when we had everything processed into several different analytic reports. I think when I left, we were at like 35 different analytic reports, and they just kept adding to that all the time. Within, I want to say 10 minutes. So it's like the pinnacle of my career. I hated the job. I hated that I was working so much, and I hated that I missed like the first year of my kid's life, and just dealing with anxiety attacks. And when I left that job, so that November, I was like burned out. I was completely burned out. And I basically went to my boss and I'm like, I'm taking 2 weeks off. And they're like, okay, do you have that much vacation time? I'm like, no, I'm taking 2 weeks off. You've seen how much I've worked. You see what I've engineered here. I'm taking 2 weeks off. I'm taking it with pay. I'm not taking it unpaid. I'm not like just don't bug me. I'm offline. They're like, well, what if something breaks? I'm like, what part of I'm offline did you not get? Don't call me. Don't email me. You cannot reach me. Everything's working fine. Don't touch it. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just leave it alone. It'll be fine. It's running. It's a well-oiled machine. I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks. They're like, well, we can't just let you leave. We'll tell people that you're working from home. And at the time, I was literally living like 2 blocks from the office. I'm like, don't tell them I'm working from home. They're going to come knock on my door, like literally knock on my door. I'm like, I'm burned out. I need rest. I need sleep. I need recovery. I want to spend time with my family. Don't bug me. And they're like, well, we have to say something. I'm like, tell them I'm taking vacation and not to bug me. And they're like, well, no, that's not really the message we want to send. This is all the toxicity and the gatekeeping that bad management can do. And so I'm like, I don't care. Fine. Tell them whatever you want to tell them. I'm taking 2 weeks off. Like 2 days into that time off, I'm like, I hate this job. I quit. So I literally went back in on day 3 and I gave him my notice and I walked away from the job. But looking back, some of the best engineering work I've done, because very few people do Perl programming. Even fewer people do multi-threaded Perl programming, and even fewer do that really well. To kind of design and architect this very scalable, real-time kind of system, or near real-time, to get it into the database to make rapid decisions on this stuff. So like some of the stuff that we would process would get into the database within a few seconds, but and then going through and building out all the analytic reports and, slicing and dicing all the data and looking at it from all these different pivot angles and whatever, getting that into the database took like several more minutes. So can't go on vacation because we don't want another person to take vacation. No, it was more, we don't want you to take a vacation because if this thing breaks, we need to reach you. Because I was the only one working on this piece of the software, and it was critical. Like when my first kid was born, like literally the day after he was born, something broke in the software. And they prepping for paternity leave. I told them I'm taking time off, spend with the family, have the kid and all that stuff. And they're like, okay, yeah, no problem. And then they said, well, you need to train somebody else that can restart the software, that knows how to go in and watch for problems. And so I trained someone else on my team. I was kind of dabbling in management at the time as well. So I was like a team lead, but also doing some management work of another whole team plus 2 other developers working under me. And so I was dabbling in management. And so I grabbed one of the people I was managing and said, or the team lead of, and I said, I'm going to train you on how to run all this software. And the agreement all around was this person was going to not take care of their normal work because they were going to be taking over my stuff for that couple of weeks that I was going to be away. Well, it turns out my VP of engineering didn't like this person. And so when something broke, instead of calling this other person, they called me. And we had literally just gotten home with a newborn and we're exhausted. And they're like, this thing broke. We need you to fix it. And I'm like, it's like 8 p.m. at night. And they're like, yep, we need you to fix it. So I ended up pulling an all-nighter trying to figure out like what broke and why and whatever. And I fixed it, went to bed. I patched it in production, which is always a good sign. But I was completely, like, I was already tired, and they basically made me stay up all night working on this thing. And the next morning they called and they're like, something's still broken. But my wife answered the phone. My wife was not happy. My wife gave this person an earful, and it wasn't even my manager that called. My manager made someone else on a different engineering team call me to say that this thing was broken, and my wife gave that person an earful. Thankfully, I was asleep. I didn't get to hear it, but I heard it was pretty bad, and that person avoided me at the office for a little while. We've since chatted and laughed about it, but yeah, my wife was not happy about the fact that, you know, we just got home with a newborn. They're making me pull an all-nighter after making me train this other person just because my VP of engineering didn't like this other person. So, yeah, Alex, good to see you. Yeah, good wife moment. Yeah, my wife is my superwoman for sure. And so the day our first kid was born, I was up working. It was like 2, 3 a.m. She came into the office and she's like giving me a shoulder rub. She's like, why don't you get some sleep and whatever. I'm like, yeah, I should probably go to bed. Well, what she didn't tell me is that she had already gone into, like, she was having contractions. And so I went to bed. I'm like, all right, I went to bed. No big deal. I wake up the next morning and hear her like on the phone, like, you know, moaning and whatever, because she's having really bad contractions, and trying to tell the nurse or whoever she was talking to at the time how far apart the contractions were. And she's like, oh yeah, they're like several minutes apart. And I'm like looking at my watch going, these are like 60 seconds apart. We need to get to the hospital now. And she was supposed to get like an IV or something. And we barely made it to the hospital in time. So by the time we got everything down to the car, drove there, I took a wrong turn in the neighborhood, got a little lost. We ended up at the hospital, parked the car at 11:30, got her upstairs, and the baby was born at 12:30 p.m. So we barely had time to make it. Our second kid, similar kind of thing. She went into labor at home, but she thought she had just pulled a muscle in her back. She was having back labor, for those that know. And back labor is really, really bad. And she just thought it was a back spasm. So she was grumpy, as would be expected. And so I took our other kid to daycare. And instead of coming home, I went to work. And I got most of the way to work, and I get a phone call. It's like, hi, this is the fire department. We have responded, past tense, we have responded to a 911 call at home. Your wife had a baby. I'm like, wait, what? So I'm like, off the freeway and like turn around, drive all the way back home. By the time I get home, everybody's gone. And she basically had the baby at home by herself. So then I had to try to figure out which hospital did they take her to. I get to the hospital. They had no idea where she was. They're like, well, did they bring her in emergency? Did they take her up to maternity? I'm like, I don't know. You're the hospital. You tell me where my wife is. They're like, well, we'll send somebody down to emergency. You go down to maternity. So I went down to maternity and she was there. So yeah, she's my superwoman, like having a baby by herself at home and like just dealing with all this crap. So no, my wife is not insane. My wife is amazing. And so my username, Ian Douglas 736, the whole 736 in my username is a shout out to my wife, because this is how we met. We met online back in 2003 when it was creepy to meet people online. And this was the username that I used on a dating website. And she found me through using the same username as a chat handle. And so I've kept it. So that's, so anytime people are wondering what the 736 is about, it's for my wife. So anyway. So yeah, so Alex, we're doing a giveaway if you're still hanging out. I've got a volcano style nozzle, for 1.75 millimeter filament. I'm pretty sure it's a 0.6 nozzle. Pretty certain it's not labeled though. And I've also got a micro Swiss, plated wear resistant nozzle, but this is for 3 millimeter filament, not 1.75 millimeter filament. So we're going to give one of these away here in just a couple minutes. So exclamation point giveaway. I know I don't have that up on the screen, but if you do exclamation point giveaway, do what I do in chat, exclamation point giveaway. So when I run this command, it's going to tell me how many people have entered. When you run the command, it's actually going to enter you for the giveaway. My whole family's cool. I appreciate that. So my oldest is still into Python a little bit. My youngest is also getting into Python, but he's also looked at Ruby and JavaScript. Um, and I kind of walked him through the C# code that I wrote for the 10 billion digits of pi. But he wrote a lot of that Python code himself for the like searching through 10 billion digits of pi. I helped him with kind of the high level algorithmic stuff, and then just doing Google searches and stuff, trying to figure out what he needed to do. He basically broke the what can we find in 10 billion digits of pi into three parts. The first part is, can we find any number within pi times n digits? So if we try to find the number 56, can we find the number 56 within 56 times 3.14 or whatever rounded digits of pi? And his hypothesis is yes, we could. The answer was more like 30% of the time you can, but most of the time, no, that's not accurate. Second part was, how many digits of pi do we have to look through to find all the 2-digit numbers, all the 3-digit numbers, 4-digit numbers, and so on. We went all the way up to 9-digit numbers, and we found, I think, almost all of the 9-digit numbers, which is like hundreds of millions, except for about 40,000. So there's about 40,000 9-digit numbers that we cannot find within 10 billion digits of pi. And then the third part was, how many of the numbers from 1 to 10 billion can we find in 10 billion digits of pi? And we can find about 66%. No, 66%. So about 1/3 of the numbers from 1 to 10 billion we cannot find in 10 billion digits of pi. And he wrote that one himself, but that one took a really long time to run because he was literally doing like a scan for every number. So like, look for the number 1, scan through all 10 billion digits. Look for the number 2, scan all 10 billion digits, all the way up to 10 billion, like scanning 10 billion. So I basically split that and made a multi-threaded C# thing, which runs in about half an hour. But his code that he wrote, the first pass, it took about 2 days just to process like 0.01% of the numbers. And so I'm like, well, let me help you with the multi-threaded version. And it was much faster. And then we thought, well, for the demo for the science fair, wouldn't it be cool if we could just do like an interactive thing where people can just say like, how many, like whatever number they want to search for and have it search pi. So let me pull that up here real quick because this one's pretty fun. So if we go, oops. Oh, I'm on the wrong machine here. Oh, no, I need to change the terminal. I need to start up a PowerShell terminal here. Go to D drive. And so we can pull all 10 billion digits of pi into memory within about 6 or 7 seconds. So throw some numbers in chat. So just throw some random numbers in chat, and we'll see if we can find them in pi. Don't do anything sensitive like a phone number, but like 1. Yeah, okay. Oh, no, it failed. What happened? Start index can't be less than 0. Oh, I fixed that code. All right, 555. Let's look for that one. Oops. I patched it, but the patch is on a different machine. All right, so if we search for 555, it found it at position 176. So it had to look through 176 positions of pi to find the number 555. You won a nozzle last night, so I'll let someone else win today. I mean, I got to get rid of these nozzles either way, Alex, and there's only like 3 other people in the giveaway, so by all means. And if you can't use it, feel free to like pass it on to someone else. So let's search for like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it found that within 9.4 million digits of pi. So yeah, so this was pretty fun to build. I worked this out the other night. And so basically it's running 16 threads on my processor here, and each thread is looking at about 600 million digits of pi and scanning through them, and then all the threads are kind of joining at the end to coordinate whether it got found or not. And that's all happening within like a fraction of a second, which is pretty sweet. Just to see that it's, it's running that fast is pretty neat. Let's see. Give me another number. how many frames have I rendered? 276,565. Yep, that number's in pi. So the theory that we've heard is that if you have pi to enough digits, every number in existence will exist within pi at some point. 33497. Yep. It found it after only about 500,000 digits of pi. It's a classic thing. We did this in college, yeah. So we found software that would generate pi. And there's actually a group that used this software, and they put together a whole bunch of Google cluster machines, and they actually calculated 1 trillion digits of pi. I tried to do the 25 billion, so they have like set points, like you can do 1 million, 10 million, 50 million, 100 million kind of thing. And I did 1 billion. Billion worked, so I did 10 billion, and that worked. And it actually didn't take very long to generate 10 billion digits of pi. But my system, it's a 32 core Ryzen 9, blah, blah, blah. Well, 16 core threading, whatever. So effectively 32 cores and 64 gigs of RAM, and it wouldn't calculate 25 billion digits of pi. So 14159. Well, yeah, 14159 is probably also going to break it. So, oh no, it found it at position 0. So why wouldn't it find 1? All that time it did. Weird. I don't know if I can win the giveaway. I live in Portugal. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Because, yeah, it does cost a fair bit of money to send things overseas. But dad joke of the day. So my kids also got me one of these, like, tear-off things. So today is the 21st. I'm actually a couple of jokes away. So, son, I think there's a hole in your sock. Wait, no, there isn't. Well, then how did your foot get in there? So, like, goofy little dad jokes like that. So, compliments on my kids. There's your second dad joke for the day. Well, the initialization should be all finished by the time it's prompting you for that number. So I'm not sure what happened with it, but so yeah. So I mean, we can just put in like random numbers, and it'll tell you whether it's found or not. We also found like large strings of zeros, large strings of like the number 1 is in there a bunch of times. We can find up to, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But if we try to search for the 9 at the end, it won't find that one within 10 billion digits. So sending isn't that expensive with international flat rate, but the import duty. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, because some countries make you pay an import duty, even if it's a gift. Because anytime I send this stuff out, I always mark that it's a gift and it's only a couple of bucks and whatever, just to try to avoid import duties. But some of them will charge you duty on it anyway. So, yeah. So let's do the first giveaway. I'm going to do a giveaway daily. So last chance to get in on that giveaway, bang giveaway. So Alex, go ahead and get in that giveaway because I got to give these things away either way. So you might as well get in there. I haven't even gotten around to working on very much code here, but that's fine. So we only got 3 people in the giveaway. So go ahead and enter. I don't mind at all. Smaller voice, you're also welcome to enter if you like. Otherwise, we got RC. I don't know if Betts is still around or not, but not many entries so far. We only got 3 entries, so feel free to jump in on it. Anyway, all this got started because we had 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So thank you to everybody who subscribed on YouTube. And so I'm going to be giving away the tentacle chest. Let me go grab that real quick. I'll show you what we're giving away on Sunday. So this is what we're going to give away on Sunday. So this is this model was designed by Clock Spring 3D, and it basically, like, the lid opens and it's got sandpaper in it right now for some reason. Forget why I put sandpaper in there, but it will not ship with sandpaper. I'm going to put something much more clever inside when it ships. But I do need to hit it with a heat gun, get rid of a few little like wispy hairs here and there. But this was printed on my Bamboo X1 Carbon with 8 different colors. And so I've got kind of a metallic rainbow on the strapping here. I've got a red gold for the gems. This one was kind of what was that one? It was like a green brass or a green bronze sort of color. There's like a dark brown for the wood. And then the tentacle was a purple, stone blue, aqua blue, and bright pink on the tentacle. And it prints all in place, so it doesn't come apart at all. And so we're going to give this away on Sunday. So come back to the stream on Sunday. I promise the sandpaper will be gone. But we'll be giving this away on Sunday for hitting 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So appreciate everybody that helped us reach that goal. We'll give that away, and then so for tonight, it was like when I realized today that we actually hit like 1,001. I'm like, well, it's kind of short notice to like do a big giveaway. So I'll be hyping that up while I'm gone for the next couple of days. So I won't be streaming Thursday night. But I'll hype it up on Twitter, so appreciate any retweets and things like that. If you want to go follow me on socials, I'll be posting on the socials on Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn and stuff like that. So go follow me. I'm Ian Douglas 736 on all those platforms, and I'll be tweeting about it. So any other visibility you can give would be great. Smaller voice. As a high school student, I don't have the funds for a 3D printer. I gotcha. Well, if you know anybody that has one, I mean, you can give it away. So I don't mind if you enter. If you know of any of your friends have a 3D printer, things like that, you can feel free to pass it along. I don't mind shipping them. They're really, really lightweight as far as shipping goes. So Dad has one at work and I can't use it. Oh. Smaller voice. Start gathering parts or printer will fall in your lap before you have enough to make your own. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just start collecting nozzles and filament and whatever. Then you'll have a good excuse for like, hey, look at all this stuff I won. I got to do something with it. But 3D printers are relatively inexpensive nowadays. Like you can get a pretty decent entry level printer for the $200 mark. It used to be like more like $500 or $600 to get into 3D printing. Now you can get in for just a couple $100. So I do realize that for a high school student, that feels like an enormous amount of money. But hello. Exactly 1 week to the day after I bought my first component, I won a printer. Nice. That's very cool. So this is my youngest, and he's the one doing the stuff in Pi. So all right, I'm just gonna go ahead and draw. So Alex, if you're sure you don't want to get in the giveaway, paid $500 for a laptop, so a printer might not be too terrible. True. I mean, you can spend a lot of money on a printer, but you don't have to. I mean, if you're just getting started in 3D printing, you don't have to spend a lot of money on it. So, all right, well, let's do this first giveaway, and we'll see who gets this one. Drum roll, please. Oh, except the chatbot's broken. Who? Dang it! Stop that. Yep, it borked. Well, that's another thing I need to fix on the chatbot. So let's stop this one. Close this one. Let's go see what happened to our chatbot here. So this should. Oh, I'm gonna have to run it again. Son works on NASA. I mean, he probably wants to work at NASA someday. All right, let's do giveaway. Taylor would do it again here. For some reason, it's not posting back to the chat. But here's our drum roll. Bets. I think Bets also said to reroll because Bets also does not have a 3D printer. So I'll go ahead and reroll. So giveaway daily. So RC, you got a pretty good chance of being selected here, I think. Bets won again. All right, let me take Bets out of the database because Bets didn't want to be in the drawing. And I think Raider didn't want it either, which means RC Maniac is the only other person in the giveaway. So the RC Maniac, I'll give you your choice of nozzle. So we got a volcano nozzle or we got the 3mm nozzle. So let me know in chat which one you prefer, and I'll set that aside for you. And then we'll do a drawing for the other one. But that's provided other people actually enter the giveaway. Otherwise, I'll just wait till Sunday. So RC, if you don't want either of these, then let me know. But if you can use either one of these, I'll send it your way, or I'll just hang on to it till you come out for Rocky Mountain Rep Rap. And then we can just give it away on Sunday or something, because we'll have other stuff to give away as well. So yeah, Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Festival happening in Colorado. It's about an hour away. Trying to convince this one to come with me.
Okay, fine.
Oh, now you do want to go?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all right.
why not?
All right.
Why not?
I mean, I'm going to be sitting there all day long.
Why not?
All right.
When is it?
Like late April.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like the last full weekend of April or something, I think. Go with them, Tiny. Father-son trip. So I got a ticket from my other son who is more interested in 3D printing. So we'll see. Give them away on Sunday? Okay. All right. We'll give these away on Sunday then. Since nobody else wants to be in the giveaway, that's fine. That's fine. Dog's getting antsy. No worries. No worries, Alex. Yeah, let's get back to fixing some code here. That was the whole point of this stream. Well, actually, let's go figure out why that doesn't echo out to chat. I want to go fix the giveaway. So instead of the clip, let's go fix the giveaway bot. All right, so where's my giveaway code? Let's go figure out why that doesn't print out in chat here. Oh, it prints. Oh, for some reason I had this commented out that it wasn't actually sending back to the channel. That was silly. Why was that commented out? All right, well, let me go reboot the bot. All right, so this is just for testing purposes only. Is this going to print? There it goes. Now it works. I don't know why I had that line of code commented out. Speaking of code, the previous file you added cd to a path variable. Did I? Good to know. So that's going to break other stuff if I don't go back and fix that. I did have a cd in there. Thank you, Alex. All right, so that should fix the path for where those clips are going to be. But then actually starting and stopping the clip. So this is where we're starting the clip and ending the clip. This should just write things into the database. It shouldn't actually be, well, once it's finished, once I hit end, this is where I want it to start extracting the video. So this is where it's starting a Python thread to actually go extract the clip of the video. But this code is not going to be able to access the raw video anymore because it's living on a different machine. So the only way that I would be able to do this, and so the nice thing about the video format that I use in OBS when it's recording all this stuff on my local disk, it's using a format FKV, I think. And the nice thing about that format is you can seek into that video file even while you're still recording to the file. You can have something else like go in and read from the file. And so once I end the clip, it's still recording and it's still adding more to the end of that file, but I can seek into from the beginning using that offset plus the time I actually started the clip, and it can actually seek in and say, okay, go grab from this time to this time. And it can read that chunk of the file and write that out to a separate file while it's still recording the rest of the video, and there's no impact on the actual video file output. And so I wanted to do it as kind of a real-time thing. So while I'm doing the clips, I can just hit start and end, and it'll actually save that as a clip and process that in the background. The problem now, though, is the machine that's actually running my chatbot doesn't have access to the raw video file that this is all recording onto right now. So, kid got in my alcohol stash?
No. Water.
Yeah, he can't tell you what he's drinking, but he can give you a hint.
Come on. Oh. What water?
Yep. It's just my trackpad. Now my trackpad's going to smell like strawberry kiwi. That's fine.
Okay.
I just saw a fun one. Data storage is finite, but you can upload basically unlimited YouTube videos. So use YouTube as a hard drive. I saw something about that where people were like uploading QR codes for like blocks of data or something like that.
That's actually really smart.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually really smart.
Yeah, because I mean, they don't really process the video anyway. So I mean, you could take any binary file, put a video header on it, and so it thinks it's an MP4 file or whatever and just upload that to YouTube, download it back from YouTube and strip that thing off. The only thing is you'd have to download like the original copy because they're reprocessed copy for all the different screen resolutions and standard def and high def and whatever would mangle your data. But doing the QR codes would be a way around that, where it's just broadcasting like a series of QR codes every few seconds or every few frames or something like that, and just play back all the QR codes to get your data back. It would be an interesting way of building that out for sure. All right, so let's go take a look at this threaded process video folder. What was this one doing? Oh, it's building the content files. I might need to peek into that one a little bit later. So where I'm listing out my clips, set my clip data. This is where it's grabbing all of the, this was like a more interactive version that I was doing after the fact, like setting up all the podcast stuff. So it was calling threaded process video. Where's that code? There it is. All right, so it's connecting to Redis. It's getting the start time of the clip, stripping out the dashes and the colons and stuff from the date and the time, and then figuring out the offset from that. So we already talked about what that offset is doing, and then it's calculating the total number of seconds. So with FFmpeg, you don't give it a start and an end time. You give it a start time and how many seconds of video you want to extract. And then this is where it's grabbing that MKV file. So this is the file name that I actually write onto the disk. But again, this path isn't going to have that file anymore. So I need to figure out where to tell it to go find that file. So I'm either going to need a network mount for this to happen, and then you've got the processing lag time of accessing, potentially a couple of gigabyte video file over a network. Or I could have this piece of code still running on my streaming PC in my Windows subsystem for Linux, where I still have a cron job that runs like every minute, like are there any videos to process? And so maybe when I end the clip, it'll set a flag saying this clip is done, it's ready to get processed, and then the next minute tick over from my Windows subsystem will pick up and go, oh, there's a video to process. Let me start that, that process of extracting that video or something like that. I might have to do something along those lines.
Smaller voice says, imagine having to watch 2 unskippable ads to run your code.
Yeah, that would not be fun. Figure out an ID system, like a video name, a timestamp, and offset into that data block. It's like a hard drive seek. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, having to sit through a YouTube ad in order to get at your data or get at your code or something like that, that would not be fun. But it's interesting to think about. Yeah, I mean, you've effectively got unlimited storage. I mean, I pay Google for additional storage above and beyond what you typically get as a free user, but I'm also a domain user, but then I also pay for additional storage on top of that. And it's nice having that extra backup. At the same time, it's a little bit terrifying to see that Google can just shut off your account because you tick them off about something and then you lose all of that data. Like, you can't ask them like, hey, I get it, you kick me off, fine, but can I at least have a backup of my data? They usually just ignore you and tell you to go away. So I actually had an idea for a while of building a RAID client where it would stripe your data or mirror your data across a bunch of cloud providers, where every time you write a file into the cloud, it would write it on Google and Microsoft and Amazon and, Dropbox and Box.net and whatever. Or you could stripe it across all of them. So even if somebody compromises one of your systems, they can only get a fraction of your data. That would be an interesting sort of client to build out. That's why I don't like cloud storages of images. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll have to figure this out. So the easiest thing for me to do with this code would be to just do a network mount. But anytime that server reboots, like I have to make sure that the network mount is always there. Otherwise, this clip thing's not going to work. So I'm trying to think of something that's going to be a little more robust. Do I just process it at the end? Like once the stream is done, then, copy the file over to the Linux machine and have it chew through everything. My hope though is that as soon as my stream is over and I hit end, all these videos are done. I just batch upload them all to YouTube right away, set all the descriptions, schedule when they're, set to go live, add them to playlists and whatever, and it's done. Or ideally, what I could do is go into Airtable and say, okay, this clip was about this topic, put it into this playlist or that playlist, and it just does the YouTube upload for me. That's ultimately where I want to get, is that it'll like clip that thing out and it'll automatically put it up to YouTube and figure out when to schedule it and all that kind of stuff. That's the eventual plan. So I can just hit start and stop, and then at the end of it, I just go through the clips and see, okay, this clip was about a resume, this clip was about career path, this clip was about such and such, and I just add some notes into Airtable, and then something else will kick off and like upload them all to YouTube, and I don't even have to like manually drag them over and stuff. That's where I want to get to eventually. The power of caching YouTube video for the data, then your cloud machine with a cheap SSD and memory, you may be able to do things pretty fast depending on what it is. Yeah. But accessing that data over the cloud, you're typically still paying for the data transfer, or you could end up paying for the data transfer. And so if it's a lot of data, they could come back and say, okay, well, you're accessing this data an awful lot. The last thing I would want to see is for YouTube to start kicking back on the producers of videos over something like that, where they start charging you for the amount of data that you upload to YouTube. That would stink. I don't think they would. That would kill their platform, but you never know. Especially now that Meta is going to be allowing people to pay for sort of verified status. I wonder how long it'll take for YouTube to do that too. So, anywho. All right, so what do I do about this disk path thing? I mean, I really just need to change this path to be a network mount point. So then it's a question of, can I access that from another location? I need to figure out how to mount a Windows share on Ubuntu. I mean, it should work. It should work okay, but I might have to get into like credentials and stuff like that I don't really want to do on stream. Make a series of commentary videos with QR codes built in so it doesn't break any rules. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can set up Samba and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of an easier way of doing that. I mean, if I have the Windows subsystem for Linux, I could maybe just do a Linux to Linux mount. Super Mario Brothers. No, it's SMB is the Samba file system. It's used for sharing files from Windows systems. A lot of time they charge for networking and transferring disk data. By putting that data in YouTube, you only pay for networking. Yeah. Yeah, I should probably just use Samba. That would be the easiest way to go. Simba.
It's that time of the year. It's Simba.
Gadunk.
But it's not.
No, it's not. What do I want to do here? Yeah, let's go see how to go see how to do this the right way. I guess we'll do it the correct way. Let me shrink this up here. Want to mount Windows disk. Well, I don't want it to do the partition though. Thing is, I'm gonna have to add this to like a startup routine and have something ping like, is the Windows machine even on? Is the network connection up? That other machine's over Wi-Fi, so it's not going to be incredibly fast. It is what it is. CIFS. Okay. Let me pull this over here. Oh, I just moved all that. Back to here, back to here, and go back to here. All Network discovery in Windows, that's already done. That's already done. Pretty sure that's already done. I just need the Linux side of it. I've already done all the stuff on the Windows side. Already done all that. All right, so I need this CIFS utils. All right, so that's installing. After running these commands, you can begin mounting shares using the mount command with the CIFS file system. So it's not Samba, it's whatever the CIFS thing is instead. So I need to give it a disk path. So we'll do make dir mount. Call it streaming. I gotta do a sudo on that. And then sudo mount type CIFS. Need a username. And the share name. Okay, and then what else do I need over here? And then where I'm mounting it to. I don't know if that's the password. Permission denied. I wonder if this is going to need my Microsoft credentials to actually log in. Nope.
There's a dog over there.
What's my password going to be? I'm at a point now where I have to try to remember my Windows password and stuff. All right, let me introduce you to Riker real quick. Watch your toes. Riker, come here. Come here, say hi. Come here. Oh, come here. What's everybody doing? This is Riker. He's my 3-year-old British lab. Yes.
Oh, I forgot he's 3.
Yeah, he's 3 now. You're an old doggo. You're an old doggo. You're still puppy from the neck up though, aren't you? Aren't you? Yeah.
Soft ears.
Yes, very soft ears. The rest of you, not so much. No granola bar for you. So that's Riker. It needs my Windows user, yeah. So I have the Windows username. I'm trying to remember what I set my password to because I use a PIN to actually log in, but it's not asking for the PIN. I got to try to remember what my actual password is. Oh, what's my actual Windows password? I don't remember. Nope, it's not that one.
Welcome.
Welcome, Big Jeno, doing a raid of 9 people. Welcome, Big Jeno and community. Thanks for coming over. I'm Ian Douglas. I usually stream like tech advice and interview prep and things like that. Today I'm trying to fix my chatbot. So Tuesdays is kind of my my coding day, and Thursday is kind of my 3D printer, maker, tinker with electronics or get into airbrushing kind of day, and then Sunday is like my help people get jobs kind of day. So I do resume reviews for free on the stream. I do a lot of career advice and interview prep. How do you sort of promote yourself to a company and get through interviews, all that kind of stuff. So Big General, thanks for dropping by. Appreciate it. Darth Gollum, good to see you. Darth Gollum's been around chat here before. So I'm trying to fix my chatbot right now. I moved my chatbot code onto a different machine here at home that no longer has access to the video that I record while I'm streaming. And but what I wanted to do was have a way to programmatically like hit a button on my Stream Deck that would start processing like a video clip, like a smaller video clip. So if someone asks a question like, what kind of things should I put on a resume? And I answer that question, that I can do like a start and a stop, and I kind of make my own clip. So not like a Twitch clip, but where I can build my own clip. So if you go check out my YouTube channel, you see a bunch of playlists on YouTube where basically I do exactly that. Where someone like I'll actually start, okay, someone in chat asked a question or someone on Discord asked a question. Let's go answer that question kind of thing. And I go through, I give my explanation, then I hit end. And I wanted to sort of extract that video out of the bigger video, but I want it to happen in real time. Like I want it to happen while I'm still streaming. I don't want to wait till the very end and then have to go through and process all this stuff. I've been trying to find ways of automating that. So I've been working on some code for that. And the code worked when it was on my streaming PC, but I wanted to offload it onto a different computer. And that computer doesn't have access to the raw video that gets recorded. And so we're working through how do I mount my Windows PC onto a Ubuntu Linux PC so that it can access that video in real time to actually go extract that bit of the video. So we're working through that right now. I'm trying to remember what my Windows password is so that I can actually go fetch that value. Or go fetch that video. I'm just trying to remember what I set the password to because I do not remember. Donuts. Nope, it's not that one. It's not that one. Not that one. It's not that one. I'm glad it gives me unlimited tries. I'm like burning through all kinds of passwords here trying to remember what my Windows password is. Because when I log into my Windows PC, I just use a little pin instead, like pin code. But I'm pretty sure that's not what it's asking me for here. Nope, it's not that. What's my password? I had to try to figure out what my own password is. I've basically blocked myself out of getting this work done.
Is there any way to recover it?
I can just reset the password. It's not that big a deal, but it doesn't have unlimited tries. I mean, if you share the video folder as global read only, then you don't need creds to read it. That's a good point, Alex. That's a good point. Let me go see if I've got that set as global read only. There it is. Go to more options, go to share. That'd be under properties, I guess. So under sharing,
Alex says everyone/read.
thanks, Alex. Everyone has read. Okay. And again with okay and close. Let's try that. So if I do that, do I not need to give it the username? No, it's still asking me for a password. So if I do -o username, it prompts me for a password. If I take out the -o username, it tries to connect me as root and still asks me for a password. So I have to give it. So if I don't give it a username, it's saying, well, you're root, because I'm running the mount command with sudo. It's trying to use a root username and still prompting me for a password. User guessed, okay. Capital G. Let's try that. Nope, still asking me for a password. All right. Well, this isn't fun to do. Only if you want to write it back. Well, that's the thing. So I want to, like, it's going to generate this video and it's got to put it back in that path, because otherwise I've got to log into that machine and pull all those videos over to upload them to YouTube. So yeah, it would be nice if the resulting videos ultimately ended up on this machine. So what I might do is just remove that bit of the code for now, where I can start and stop the clip. It'll store that in the database, and then I'll just have something that processes the video like once the stream is over to go through and extract those clips. The downside is it takes a couple of minutes per clip because it's got to seek through, I mean, if I record, it's about 1 gigabyte an hour. So if I have a really long stream, it takes a long time to read through that a bunch of times and pick out all the pieces that I need. So I'm trying to find a more efficient way of doing that. That's why I wanted to do it in more real time. So I'll figure that out as we go. All right. Well, I'm gonna wrap up for the night because I still have to pack for my trip tomorrow. So let's do this. So I was gonna give these away on Sunday. We started the giveaway with this earlier, but since a whole bunch of people just came over with Big Jano, and I know that those folks are going to be into 3D printing, I've got some 3D printer nozzles to give away. we hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So on Sunday, I'm going to be giving away this really cool treasure chest that I 3D printed. And this was 3D printed on my Bamboo. It's got sandpaper in it right now. So now it is empty. But we're going to give this away on Sunday. And it will not be empty for whoever wins it. I'm going to put something fun and special inside of it for whoever wins this on the giveaway on Sunday. But for tonight, I've got 2 different nozzles that I can give away. So I will leave it up to the recipient to decide which nozzle you would like. So exclamation point giveaway. The video format you choose could make that process easier. So I'm doing everything in the MKV format and then doing it in MP4, but the video file format, I mean, if I make it an MP4, it's about the same size as MKV, so I'm not sure how that would make it any different to write back to my system other than maybe being slightly smaller. Oh, for seeking? Yeah. Which is why I wanted to keep it in the MKV format, because seeking in an MKV works really, really well. Like I said, all this code worked fine when it was running on this machine, but moving it to another machine where it doesn't have access to that video. So, so for everybody else hanging out, I've got 2 different 3D printer nozzles. This one is a volcano style nozzle, so it's bigger than a typical, 3D printer would use. But if you have a volcano capable system, this is a 1.75 millimeter filament nozzle. I'm pretty sure it's a 0.5 bore opening on it. So it's a 0.5 millimeter nozzle. Or sorry, this one's a 0.6. Pretty sure it's a 0.6 nozzle. Unfortunately, it's not marked. Eyeballing it versus this one, which I know is a 0.5, it's bigger than a 0.5. It's not a 0.8 because I've compared it against a 0.8 and it's smaller than a 0.8 nozzle. So I'm going to call this a 0.6. But it's a volcano style. So you have to have a volcano compatible hot end. This other one is a micro Swiss plated wear resistant nozzle. The other one's just brass. This is a plated wear resistant nozzle, but this is for 3 millimeter filament, not 1.75 millimeter filament, which most printers take. So if you have an older style printer or a TAS or something like that that still takes 3 millimeter filament, you can choose this nozzle. Or you can choose the volcano. Or if you're the recipient and you can't use either one, feel free to regift it to somebody who can. If you know a school that maybe has a TAS printer or something like that, or you know somebody with a volcano, feel free to sort of pass it along and pay it forward. So if you'd like to do the giveaway, exclamation point giveaway, got the instruction up here. So exclamation point giveaway, and I'll give one of these away and then we'll wrap up. We'll find someone else to rate into. I was only going to stream until like 9 o'clock my time, which is 25 minutes from now. Just to work on a little bit of code, stream on a Tuesday for a change, because I'm not going to be streaming Thursday. I'm doing a trip, going to a tech conference to give a talk, and so I'll be back like late Saturday night. So I'll stream Sunday morning per usual, but I won't be streaming Thursday. You don't post remux. So yes, OBS will remux it into MP4 format after, but I still want to keep the quality of it, especially if I'm coding and things like that. And so I actually have it remux at a fairly high bit rate, but that doesn't alleviate what I want to do as far as like extracting the real-time videos. So my youngest wants to show some other stuff that we did with the laser engraver. So last Thursday we unboxed a laser engraver, and so we found just an old chair that we were disassembling and throwing out anyway. So we actually engraved this really cool Among Us image that we found online, just to see like, oh, what's it going to be like to engrave onto, a really thick piece of wood. It worked out really, really well, except for making the whole house smell like the house was burning down, because burning wood is not that pleasant to many people. I don't mind the smell of burning wood. I like the smell of a campfire, but making your house smell like a campfire for like 8 hours, not so pleasant. So if you want to get on the giveaway for one of those 2 nozzles, you're welcome to enter the giveaway. We'll wrap up with that. Not bad. I'll get that password changed for you tonight so that you can do that. Actually, bring that other laptop over and I'll do that while I think of it. So we'll do that, and then we'll find somebody to go right into eventually. I'll stay and hang out if other folks have questions and stuff like that. But carbon extraction fans, yeah, I need to build the extraction. So I need to build something. So when I bought the resin printer, it came with like these little miniature things. Just set it down here, and they work okay-ish. but they're really meant to be like in an enclosed, resin printer with the big cover and stuff like that. And the laser engraver doesn't have a cover. But the laser engraver company said I could keep the laser engraver if I make them a bunch of videos. The caveat to that is if you buy a laser printer from them, they'll give you a license for Lightburn. If they give you a laser engraver, they're like really hesitant to give me a license for Lightburn. And I'm like, well, how do you expect me to make videos over a period of months when my free trial runs out after 30 days? If you're not going to give me a license, you're going to make me pay for a license. So I'll probably just pay for the license anyway, but I'm kind of going back and forth with them on like, you wanted me to agree to like making a couple of videos every month for a couple of months, but you're not going to give me a license. Like that seems weird. So I'm kind of going back and forth with them on that. I'm hoping that they'll give me a license. And then they said I could keep it. Whether I have long-term use for a laser engraver, I don't know yet. But I've always wanted an excuse to kind of tinker with one and see what it's capable of. And this company reached out and they're like, hey, do you want to review it, send it back? And I'm like, well, what would it take to keep it? So brushed up on my own negotiating skills of how do you power negotiate. And we came to an agreement on it. So you use LaserWeb 4. Okay, I'll check that one out. If it's free, then great. There's another one that is GRBL or something that people use, or Laser GRBL, something like that. But I haven't tried that one. I've only tried the Lightburn software, and it's okay. It's not very like first time laser engraver user friendly because it's not like printer, slicer where you drop it, and you've got the picture of the printer, so you know exactly where it's going to go. Like when you get into engraving, you don't even know where your 0, 0 position is. You got to try to figure all that stuff out. So it's definitely got some learning curve to using an engraver, but it's pretty neat. I engraved like a little hard drive enclosure with like my contact info on it. I'm not going to show that on stream, obviously, but I was able to etch like, if found, please call, or email me, kind of thing. And then just etching on pieces of wood just to kind of see like what strength and speed I need to like cut out a little square versus just, make it different shades of burnt. So that's been a lot of fun. So laser GRBLs, yeah, it's a Windows only. I mean, the two systems that I've got set up for it right now are just Windows machines anyway. So I've got another Windows machine on that workbench near the resin printer and the laser engraver anyway. And it's across the room and it's blocked off, so I can't even see like any of the light escape from the laser engraver. But I also picked up a second pair of the safety glasses as well. So if I am engraving something, I'll leave one pair over there, but I'll bring another pair over here. So if I get up and walk around, I can pop them on real quick. So, and they're not exactly stylish. The pair that came with them reminds me of like the, Florida man, 80-year-old man in Florida, big wrap around your head kind of sunglasses, but they work great. Haven't had any problems with my eyes. So, had numerous companies ask me to review their lasers. No space for one, unfortunately. I mean, I made room. Like, if you're gonna give me this thing for free, I'll make room. So I actually had it here next to me when we unboxed it and opened it up. Did a few quick engravings, and I need to go back and edit that video to like trim out stuff because I was also like answering career questions and stuff while I was doing the unboxing and the assembly and things like that. So I need to go back and like trim that video into an actual like, here's my unboxing and my first experience trying to run the software and get it connected and all that stuff. Because I told them I'd get that up on YouTube by the end of the month. So I gotta do all that. Webcam and basic streaming software is a real good idea if you're not standing over it. Yeah, I mean that was the plan. So I wanted to put a camera on the resin printer anyway. So I needed a computer over there anyway. If you do !to do, you'll see like a whole to-do list of things that I got to do around the shop, as well as like Lego kits that I want to build and like other fun stuff. But yeah, ! giveaway. We'll do that giveaway here in a couple minutes. So if you're interested in getting one of these nozzles, and again, if you can't use it, that's okay. But if you're in the domestic U.S. and you want me to ship this to you, I'll ship it to you. I might not be able to ship it tomorrow because I gotta literally like run out the door first thing in the morning and the post office won't be open. But I will reserve it. You can DM me your shipping details, and I'll send you tracking information once I get home and get a shipping label and stuff like that, and I'll get this packaged up and mailed out to you Monday next week. Because I'm going to have other stuff to mail up Monday when I get back anyway, because I've got active things going on eBay and stuff like that already. So, so yeah, so if you want one of these nozzles, great. And if you can't use it, you're welcome to pass it on to someone else. I mean, it's free, a couple of bucks for shipping, so it won't be that big a deal. Need a better enclosure for mine. Right now I have a big cardboard box to block the light. I mean, it's better than nothing. But I want something where I can like put some fans in there. I've got a bunch of old like computer fans and things like that I want to use. So it's just a matter of getting like a power rail that they can all plug into to have enough voltage or whatever to actually power the fans, and then put like screens in between them to scream out particulates and stuff like that. I actually found a pretty good video where someone built like a really large thing with lots of it was like a 2 horsepower fan or something. I don't think I need anything that big. Like I don't plan on like cutting through an inch of wood and stuff like that. Like anything I engrave is going to be like, maybe 2-3 hours tops. Because again, it kind of makes the whole house stink. But if the fume extraction would help and it kind of lowers the smell of laser engraving, then I'll probably engrave longer things. But I don't think I need a 2 horsepower motor. Like I'm not pushing that much stuff. But then I've also got to figure out how to vent it out to the outside. So that like just venting it through a filter thing and then like leaving it in the basement kind of defeats the purpose. So I had to pass up laser GRBL myself because I had a Linux laptop. Oh, okay, and later a Pi. Gotcha. I mean, if you're running all the stuff off a Raspberry Pi, that's pretty great. It's pretty good endorsement for the software if it'll run off a Raspberry Pi. Solder fume extractor is all you really need. Okay, fair. I mean, I'm happy to just buy one too. So, but it's fun like tinkering and building one. Like I've got all the parts. I can 3D print, like a thing to fit the fans in, and I've got lots of like weather stripping and silicone and stuff to like really seal everything and whatever, and just have like the hose and stuff like that to do the extraction. But it's just the time to sit down and do it. So yeah, I'll probably just end up buying one at the end of the day. The company that makes the laser engraver actually sells like like an air pump kind of thing where there's like a little hose that clips right onto the end of the thing, and it'll like, vacuum the air away. So I might see how much that costs. Because I mean, if it's like a plug and play kind of thing, I might just do that. Laser Web 4 in motion for the cam. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Thanks, Alex. All right, well, last chance if anybody wants to get in that giveaway. Big Jano and Darth Gollum are both in there. So is RC. RC didn't want the nozzles. RC said to hang on to them until Sunday, but RC's still in there. So let's do a giveaway here. Air assist. Oh, it's a blower, not a... Oh, really? I thought it was a vacuum. So it blows air on it? Oh, to like get rid of dust so it can do a cleaner burn or whatever, or like a cleaner cut. I would have expected it to be a vacuum, not positive air. Ivan Miranda. I don't know the name RC, no, but I'll check it away. It blows the soot away. Okay, gotcha. All right, I'll have to consider that too. So maybe I use the air assist to push air at it, and then still have like a vacuum based kind of fan system or whatever to like pull the smoke away. I don't know Ivan by name. I've had this laser engraver literally days, so I'll check it out. I've been watching. Was it like Virginia? I forget. It's a YouTube channel where. Oh, here it is. Louisiana hobby guy. So I don't know if that's who the person is. This guy who makes Tanis and giant printheads. I don't know the name off the top of my head, but I'll check it out. Spanish guy who prints really big. Okay, cool. Well, thanks for dropping the link. I'll definitely check that out. Our laser at school has both air to blow on it and then an exhaust system to clear it out. Gotcha. Yeah, that's the kind of thing. Like I at least want the exhaust because like the whole basement fills with like the particulates, and then it actually goes up through, my kids' bedrooms are up on the uppermost floor, and they can smell the smoke, like the burning wood kind of smell. So, all right, well let's do a giveaway. Let's give away a nozzle, shall we? All right, Big Jano, you have been chosen. So Big Jano, I'll let you choose. Do you want the Volcano nozzle or do you want the 3mm nozzle? We have a nice exhaust system, set it for the CO2, you can barely smell it. Nice. Yeah, this one's just it's just a diode laser. It's not CO2, so it's not that powerful. It's only a 5 watt laser. Like it takes a while to like cut through 2 millimeters of wood. It takes like several passes at like 90% power. Take the volcano. All right, cool. I will set that aside for you. I will write your name on it before I forget. So Big Geno, send me a Twitch DM with your name and your address, and I'll get that mailed out to you Monday next week. And that has been set aside and reserved for you, sir. Yeah, no rush. Cool. Yeah, so I gotta like head out first thing. So this giant storm that's like going all the way across the U.S. right now is rolling through Denver overnight tonight. My flight's at like 11:30 or something tomorrow out to Detroit. While I'm in Detroit, the storm is making its way into Michigan while I'm there, and then I gotta like try to fly back in the middle of it too. So good times, good times. Perfect timing for a trip. But I give myself lots of time either side of the conference that I need to be at and do a talk, so it should be all right. Yeah, if anybody's coming to Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Festival, it's like an hour from my house. So if you're coming out, I would love to hang out and go grab some drinks or grab a meal or something like that. So if you do make it out, DM me, let me know. I'm willing to play shuttle for the airport to get you all the way up to Loveland. It's about an hour drive. And anything that'll save you, the $50 or $100 or more that it might cost like Uber or Lyft to get you out there. If you're not renting a car on your own, it'll be pretty pricey to get from the airport all the way up to Loveland. So I'm going to be taking that Friday and the Monday off on either side of Rocky Mountain Rep Rap. So if anybody wants shuttled from the airport, we can kind of coordinate like a time and pick people up and get you up to Loveland and stuff like that. I've got lots of seating in my SUV. So yeah. Let's see. 144 millimeter computer fan and a dryer vent hose to send it outside is plenty. Okay. So I've got a bunch of, are they 140 millimeter? I think they're 120 millimeter fans. Yeah, I've got 320 millimeter fans because my old CPU cooler was a 360 and the actual radiator failed. And so I pulled the fans off. I threw the rest in the trash because the fans still work great. So I kept the fans. So I've got 3 12 millimeter fans. I've got another box of like another 4. I believe they're also 12 millimeter fans or 12 centimeter fans. So 120 millimeters. And yeah, just, 3D print a little thing to go onto a dryer hose or something like that. That was my plan. So not much difference in the air movement. Cool deal. All right. Well, let's go find a raid target. Sorry for the folks that just came in and I'm like raiding back out already, but let's go find somebody that we can go raid. See who's out there. Zombies online, Polymaker's online. Polymaker's funny. Every time I say something to Polymaker, it's like Ian Douglas. I think Nick is actually coming out to Rocky Mountain Rep Rap, so I'll be sure to correct him on the pronunciation of my name. Hey BC, good to see you. Thanks for hanging out. Let's see, who can we read it over to? So typically, whatever I'm streaming, I like to sort of like raid over. So when I do like career stuff, I'll raid over to somebody doing software. When I'm doing software, I'll raid over to someone else doing similar type of software. Thursday is maker night, so I'll raid over to another maker. Not many folks doing coding tonight, though. Actually, someone else doing Python code. So yeah, we'll go hang out with a Python developer. We'll keep it going. It's a couple of folks that I follow, actually, Anthony and Juicebox Hero. So we'll go right over to Juicebox Hero. So please be friendly over there. We'll go check out their channel. I think I've raided over to them in the past. It's been a minute though, so we'll raid over there, and we'll catch you on Sunday. So Sunday we'll be giving away the treasure chest. It will not be empty, so come back on Sunday. We'll give those away. If you want to stay and hang out for like career advice and interview prep advice or resume reviews, anything along those lines, you're welcome to do that. And then the following Thursday, I'll be back to my regular sort of maker thing where I'll probably be doing more videos for the laser engraver for them. Cool. Thanks, Big Jano. I will have a good trip. Hopefully, I'm hoping to like cross from Detroit over into Windsor. My mom's going to drive down, and we're going to have some dinner. I think Friday night before I fly back on Saturday. So it'd be nice to see family for a minute, and then yeah, pick up some Canadian snacks and bring them back. I'm jonesing for some Canadian snacks. I got some coffee crisp over here in my filing cabinet, but anyway. Cool. We'll catch you over on Juicebox Hero, and we'll catch you all next week. Have a good night. Cheers. You have family in Windsor and Toronto? Well, we should chat about that then. And yeah, if you're ever up there, we can coordinate or something. That'd be fun. Cool. We'll catch you folks later.